Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Well, if you were looking for 5-minute Bible study, you found it. This is Daily Dose Radio. On this program, we do 5-minute verse-by-verse Bible study through the Psalms. So we're going verse by verse. We started with Psalm 1, verse 1, and now we're in Psalm 106. Today we're looking at verses 1 through 5. This psalm is like 105, like Psalm 105, but it is definitely not like Psalm 105. So let me explain that. Psalm 106 is built sort of the same way, because in Psalm 105 we have the Lord being extolled for his acts of mercy and his goodness towards his people in the Exodus and in the wilderness. So all that God had done for them, and we recounted all of the acts of his mercy towards them in the Exodus, all of his acts of mercy towards them in the wilderness. God's working for them was the subject of 105. And it ends with, praise ye the Lord. Now, Psalm 106 begins that way, praise ye the Lord, and it recounts for us wilderness experiences and Exodus experiences, but instead of recounting the goodness of God in the wilderness and in the Exodus, it recounts the sin of the people in the Exodus and in the wilderness experience. So we know that there was a lot of that going on. The people were very much involved in sinning against the Lord. It seemed like every time they turned around, they were complaining, or they were lusting after something, or they were murmuring against Moses, or something was going on. And now what we have in Psalm 106 is a recounting of that. So instead of calling this a psalm in praise of God's wondrous works towards his people in the past, we can say this is a psalm of penitence of the nature of the people in their past experiences. So it calls us to remember their sinfulness and how they transgressed against the Lord, which is a wonderful kind of governor for us. Because when we read this psalm, we can look at this and say, oh, those bunch of bad people that were in the wilderness experience. But no, this is not just about them. This is a warning for us as well. Because remember, all of this was written as an example for us. Whether an example for good or an example for bad, this is a great way for us to govern our passions. To see these sins that these people committed helps us to control ourselves. Okay, we begin with verses 1 through 5 today, and verses 1 through 5 sort of set the psalm for us. First is, praise ye the Lord. And that's almost like it stands out almost as it's not a superscript because it's a part of the text, but it connects us with what has happened in God's goodness to the people in the Exodus and in the wilderness march. Now we're going to praise the Lord because we're going to see their sinfulness, not praising him for that, but praising him that we do see it. Give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Who can utter the mighty acts of the Lord? Who can show forth all his praise? Blessed are they that keep judgment, and he that doeth righteousness at all times. Remember me, O Lord, with the favor that thou bearest unto thy people. O visit me with thy salvation, that I may see the good of thy chosen, that I may rejoice in the gladness of thy nation, that I may glory with thine inheritance. Boy, that's a beautiful way to begin this Psalm 106. And notice verse 4. That's a great prayer. You can take that prayer, verse 4, remember me, O Lord, with the favor that thou bearest unto thy people. O visit me with thy salvation. That would be a great prayer to take into your prayer closet and just to seek the Lord concerning that, because the Lord is good. His mercy does endure forever. Okay, I hope you'll join me tomorrow as we look at verses 6 through 10 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.